All right. Hello, Internet. Welcome to episode 10 of our playtest of the City of Red Water setting for Blades in the Dark. My name's Ash. I am responsible for the setting, as in from a writing perspective, as well as from a GMing perspective. I'm your GM today, your host, and I use she/her pronouns. I have with me three renegades with dangerous killing intent. And I'll get them to introduce themselves and their characters, starting with Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I use she, her pronouns. So do my characters, so that's easy. I
Convenient.
will be playing one or both of, I guess. I have Bellum, who is the punch murderer, and then I have Snake, who is the gadget murderer.
Bellum is very frustrating to me as a GM because it's like any problem I put in front of her, she's like, "Well, I could
Punch.
punch murder it."
Yeah, I tend to build cutters one way, and that way is like very direct to just navigate any sort of obstacle put in front of them by going straight through it.
I did enjoy last episode of what if I put something in front of you where punching it would be bad. Um, to which the answer was, "Who cares?"
Yeah.
Oki, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, thanks.
No,
Hi
no, oh, you're
everybody.
you're Oki.
Yes, right. I'm doing Oki as okay. Or wait, no, I got that wrong. Hey everybody, I'm Oki, aka Go Kid. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing as Lace and Flint. Flint, of course, is in prison. Lace is losing her mind a little bit, but she's pretty cool.
You're doing all
And
right.
falling in love.
Yeah, falling in
So
love,
that's.
losing your mind, basically the same thing.
Did I say Flace and Lint?
No, I did.
Okay.
I typed it.
I'm like, damn it, I am losing my mind.
All right. Dakota, who are you?
Hi, yeah, I'm Dakota. I use he, him pronouns. Today I'm going to be playing as Cole and trying not to be bruised and battered too much as we uh, fight for justice.
Yeah. How bruised and battered are you currently?
Look, to be fair, I have, let me just double check on the character sheet here. Almost drowned, giving me -1 dice, and fall damage, giving me less effect. So, uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
rough.
Yeah, you had some time last
Yeah.
time.
So
Got children in the
we
corn.
I, we did. Um, so we finished up a downtime at the end of
Mm.
last
Yes. Lace
Session,
leveled
yes.
up.
sanitary.
I I took like looking into a mirror, which lets her always tell when someone is lying to you.
That's real strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the we dealt with the coin.
Mm.
Um, what is the word I'm looking for? Asylum?
Oh, for
Sanatorium der Pur. Um, so, uh,
we
about
got Bonita off.
150 people have been rounded up, and shoved into Sanatorium der Pur. So now it's at like 200% uh, capacity. Sanatorium de Pearl was formerly a women's prison and has since been converted into a home for the mentally ill and peculiar. Um, and yeah, a bunch of people from Fraser Gardens have been uh, have been put in there.
Mm.
Wow.
Um,
Why?
They'll be the ones that know about Bloody Fraser.
Yeah.
yeah. So last time we had some fun stuff with a bunch of people going kind of crazy and chasing you, trying to get revenge for the experience of murder that they went through, despite it not being their own. Um, and then they were people who had had their memories of something to do with Gordon Fraser, the governor, erased. Certain things they needed to forget about. Um, and those people have since had a time when you undid that spell, and thus been rounded up and put into an insane asylum.
Whoops.
So yeah,
I mean,
can't guarantee it's everyone, but
the I guess polite way to approach this is to free
Kill the
them
governor?
and then
Oh.
use their experience to lobby the government to oust the clearly bad person. But I think a more direct approach is probably appropriate. Big old murder time. Because sometimes action is needed.
yeah, that seems legit. What's do you have do you have a plan in mind?
Oh, it's clearly a social approach, right?
Well, no, but like what so what's your goal? What are you going after?
Um, I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that we can sort of expedite our problem of liberating the city of Redwater by removing the governor. And I think there are probably a handful of ways in which he has made himself not necessarily weak, but available to us. And I think we could explore those options.
I would love to. Yeah, that's the bit I want to know about. Is like, what are the things that you are? Because he is very well defended, and he doesn't come out a lot.
Um, I assume. Well, yeah, this could be incorrect, but I assume from his nickname he's into some weird things that probably he doesn't want lots of people to know about.
Yep. Yeah. Fair.
So it feels like an opportunity to, if they didn't catch everyone and lock them up, then perhaps if we find someone, we can get some more detail about what it is they experienced that was so damning for the man.
It sounds like you want to roll a gather information roll, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do this. Feels a bit like a survey. Gather information about opportunities or exploits.
Yep, I would see survey, or I could even see hunt in this case. But yeah, either or.
We'll take survey. It's my better stat. Position and effect. Risky standard, I assume.
Uh, risky limited unless you've got a way to boost it mechanically, or if you've got a way to unless you've got a way to boost it. So the amount of information I can give you from a roll from a result. So describe in fiction for me, like what this looks like, and we'll. How are you surveying? Are you what contacts are you or areas are you pushing? Things like that.
I think it's probably about kind of going out and also sending our cohort in the former brackish mob out in little groups throughout Fraser Gardens, checking to see, particularly along that street that we were previously on, seeing who's home still and who's home still and hiding, because they've known that everyone else who knows stuff has been rounded up, like trying to see who's around and make it known that we're not the government, we're not agents of Gordon Fraser.
Using
And
the
trying
cohort,
to.
I can give you risky standard.
Cool.
That's definitely that's enough to make the difference there.
Smart.
Marvelous.
Because it gives me a couple of extra options for if things go poorly.
That won't happen.
No.
Is this a situation in which my -1 dice will apply?
What's your -1 dice?
From almost drowning.
I don't think that's going to make too much difference. Your other one for a reduced effect was
From fall damage.
Yeah, so
that was
neither of
the
those are
hitting
gonna-
the water.
yeah, neither of those are gonna
Cool. All
fall
right.
damage, the deadliest kind of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to push myself yet. Do you have a devil's bargain to give me a little extra?
Fraser's gonna know you're investigating.
Oh God.
Oh,
It's not going to stop us coming for him. Like,
yeah. It's like that's him knowing is not necessarily the issue, but him doing something because he knows, it kind of worries me.
He'll definitely do something. Yeah.
Oh. No, let's not take that. Let's roll the dice otherwise.
All right.
Submit. Oh, horrific. 421.
So Fraser Gardens is a part of the city that's been entirely constructed during the Etish reign. During the time that since the Etish purchased the city. I think on a I think you can have the information, which is that entire area was like a during Calvis settlement. That area was kind of a shanty town / traveler community. A bunch of displaced indigenous folks living there. And they were not fans of the purchase. Of the purchase of Inverouge. And most of them are dead now. That's probably at least triple digits of people.
Yeah.
Probably low thousands. Like 1,000 or so people were faced redcoat guns and didn't get out of it well.
Well, we didn't need more reasons to try to get rid of him, but we have them now.
Yeah, that's why he's got that name, and that's what was being erased.
Wow. Okay.
Aaron, you had a thought?
yes. Okay, so fairies
Yes.
are like, they've been here for a long time, yeah?
I mean, they're part of the landscape. They are.
Okay.
I mean, they're really expressions of the landscape. They are
Okay.
like when I say an ent, what I actually mean is just the tree, right?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
they're just the like a fairy is just a way for us to talk about the fact
mhm.
that everything is alive.
Okay. So, you know how on like the last Lord of the Rings movie, how they had the army of ghosts and shit that helped them out and like the Ents were doing stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get from point A to there, but like I feel like that's like Bellum's like we need to get the fairies and the dead folks to help us fix this if they want to.
All right.
In particular, the river, who is angry.
Fucking pissed.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have aligned interests.
Yeah. Yep.
Hmm.
Is there a social mission here?
I think so. A quick social mission to gather an army of like the supernatural.
Oh, look, I
Yeah.
would love
And
that so that
talk
we
to the
get
river demon.
one
Devil?
more downtime so I can heal up.
We're about to
Oh yeah.
fucking Avengers assemble
Yeah.
some fairies and shit to go kill the governor.
Hell yeah.
Do we want to go and talk to? So, what's the social connection? Is it the fairies or is it the river?
I
Hmm.
feel like the fairies are our in. Like there was that mission where we brought them along to help, and like
Yeah.
like Bellum's gone out and communed with them, and like I feel like there's a bit of a relationship there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not super deep, but that's probably the strongest tie we've got.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. So where do we want to? We're just gonna go out into like the deep, the deep swamp. Is that the plan?
I think so.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm sure Bellum has a spot that she prefers to kind of hang out where the connection feels strongest. And if we go out there and
I mean, there's a
bide
place
our
that
time, then
Bellum. There's also a place that Bellum has avoided, because it's kind of got some whack energies. I think Bellum probably went there at some point and doesn't remember during like her like bit where she went away.
Mm,
There's a big hollow cypress tree that comes up out of the water and bleeds just
mm.
continually.
Hmm.
Um, and I know and so Bellum probably knows that's a very important place, but also has avoided it and like came across it during her wild times, and has avoided it since then. On account of um,
It's a lot.
it's a big time.
it's a whole
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Um, so that would make a good meeting place if you were trying to get like a lot of attention from from spirits.
It would be nice to make our case
Yeah.
to as many as possible, I think. Like,
It's kind of the equivalent of standing in the middle of like an intersection or highway as far as ferries are concerned.
Like a rift of ley lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Who's on this mission and what are your loads?
Uh, Bellum's gonna be like mostly naked.
Dope.
So like light. Like I think she's going out with a knife and a bottle of the spirits that she made.
Mm-hmm.
And like the knife is to get some of her blood or whoever's blood to put in here when we drink it.
Yep. Good old blood and moonshine cocktail. Love it.
yeah, Cole will take a light load as well. Significantly less naked, but you know, if need be, we can all get back to nature.
You can always take your clothes off if you need to.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
And Lace is going in light as well. She has no idea what she's getting into.
Yeah, right.
She's like, "We're going where?"
Yep. Yeah.
I feel like the Bellum that's walking into the swamp now is very much different than the one that initially walked in to look for spirits like the first time.
Mm-hmm.
She's a lot closer to something else at this point. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I mean, a vampire, but
Was Lace with us when we took uh the Peacock and friends to?
Yeah, because we used.
No,
Well,
Flint was
Because
there.
Flint was on the mission, but I
I
just
think
Yeah,
like
it
Lace was with
yeah.
us because we used her boat.
cool.
yeah.
If
Oh,
any
right,
of the
she dropped
details
them
she
off,
wasn't
yeah.
aware of after that mission, will probably she'll get them from Cole. Like
Right.
we've hung out with these people, these
Yeah.
spirits before. They
We
can
chat
be a
in
bit
bed.
surprising.
All right. Let's do the engagement roll then. So the plan. So is the operation particularly bold or daring?
I feel like yes, given our goals.
I wouldn't call it daring. I'd call it bold.
Mm.
Yeah. So there's one dice. Is it overly complex or contingent on many factors?
I mean, do they talk to us? Is kind of like the
Yeah.
only factor.
I'm happy to
No.
let that go.
Mm.
Does it expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they are weakest?
It's in our style of going where they're strongest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, we're walking into the fairy highway mostly naked.
Yeah.
Like,
So I think is the target strongest against this approach, or do they have particular defense? So they're not strongest against this approach or have particular defenses. They're just we're kind of
Social.
we're going up against them head on.
yeah.
Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight?
Are the fairies we've communed with previously considered our friends, or is it because like maybe because they're not on like anybody's sheet, they're not that level of friend?
Hmm. Yeah, if they're not on any particular. Who changed our status with the brackish mob
To what?
to
Oh,
69?
I did. Because we
They love us.
Okay. So no, they don't exist anymore.
Oh yeah, they're one of us. They're all of us.
I think yes. I think your existing connections here can help, but also you are at war with the agricultural union,
Mm.
so I have to take one off you for that.
that's fair.
Um,
That probably helps us in the long run, though. The agricultural union has done a lot to frustrate the spirits of the area.
Yeah.
so you got one dice as you starting
Oh
engagement
goodness,
dice.
Cool.
who
I
wants
guess
that burden?
I'll roll it. I mean,
Yeah,
Bellums.
thank you.
I believe in Bellum.
heavy is the head that wanders nude through the swamp. 5.
Hey.
Nice. All right. So yeah, interesting. So I think we see two of you kind of with like poles pontooning the boat towards the like through the swamp towards the bleeding cypress because it would not do to have the motor going.
Mm.
That would be a bad look. And yeah, and we get there, and the this is the first time that like Cole or Lace have seen the bleeding cypress, and it's kind of a lot more gory than you were expecting. Like it's like you're like, oh yeah, blood cypress, blood tree. That's fine. It's just the same as like it's got like um like lumps and things. It's much more like a dead person than you were expecting.
Wow.
But a tree. Um, it's kind of like if someone had like opened up someone's rib cage and like pulled it open and then turned them into a tree, but they kept being flesh. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
So it's deadly quiet when you get there. I think as you get closer and closer, more of the like cicadas and like water birds and things just like go silent. And so by the time you get there, the only real sound is the like lapping of the little waves from the boat up against the tree and your boat. Um, it's very obvious that like there that like the swamp is watching, but isn't like is definitely like not sure that you're safe or friendly. I think your spirit friends that you were expecting to come and like back you up just aren't here. Um, like the ones that you know from the farm from near your
Mm-hmm.
base haven't haven't followed you here. Um, you know they were coming along at some point and they've just like peeled off. So you're left with the judgment of like of the like bayou um with like all traffic has come to a halt and everyone is looking to see what's happening. And not with kind eyes.
Yeah. So I think at this point, Bellum's gonna like hop out of the boat and not go in the tree, but like probably try and sit near it and like very slowly and calmly she's gonna put her um, bottle of moonshine down. She's gonna cut somewhere on her arm and let some of the blood go in, kind of swirl it a little bit, and then she's going to kind of look at the other two and motion for them, I guess, to come hang out by her. And she's gonna take a sip and then put the knife next to the bottle and put it on the ground in front of her.
Feels as good a display as any. Yeah.
Ash, you're muted all of a sudden.
This might be a consort roll. It might be a group, or it might be or maybe you want an assist. I don't know.
My consort is not great, so I would be needing assist and stress to spare.
Yeah, so you can get one assist on a regular roll.
I can happily use foresight here to have shared with you what knowledge I've gained from talking with my elders in the past to supplement your
That's a good way to get an assist without anyone having to pay stress.
swamp bathing.
Yep.
It says that we're not on the map.
Huh. Yep. Yeah.
Ash was quiet for a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should be good now.
Okay.
Yeah, my sound. I'm gonna switch to. I've just ordered a Bluetooth headset so that this stops happening.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because every time a cable comes on like a little bit unplugged, it resets everything. It's
Yeah.
frustrating.
I always hate that.
Wow,
Could
yeah.
this, in theory, like if this is a thing we're all doing, could we do it as like a group
Could do it as a group
command?
action. Yes,
And
absolutely.
I'll lead. I
Yep.
mean, it seems thematically like I'm leading anyway,
Yep,
so
that
that way
seems-
we can
I think that
increase our
seems
chances of success.
perfectly appropriate. So rather than using that, rather than using the foresight, we'll do a group action instead.
Yep,
Okay.
that works for me. All right.
What's our position and stuff?
You're in a risky position. If you fuck this up, then you're in the middle of a swamp where the swamp is gonna be frustrated with you or angry at you. But I think if you're just trying to open the conversation, then it's standard.
Okay. Yeah, I think this was more to like open the door for us to be able to see what's going on, that sort of thing, and show that we're here, to talk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna push myself for an extra die because why not?
Yeah, wondering if
2
I
and a
do the
3.
same.
Oosh. Okay,
I'm
I
gonna
take a stress
push.
from myself.
Yeah.
Risky standard.
Is this a situation where my injuries will play a role?
Neither of them involve you bleeding, do they? No. Okay, you're all good.
All right, I'm rolling.
I've pushed myself,
Hey.
so here we go.
Whoa.
Boom. 651.
Good job on the
Okay,
5.
so that definitely worked out
Okie,
well.
and good job on the 6,
5-2.
Dakota. So it's Dakota. It's Cole's it's Cole's like knowledge to that. I think Cole, not to speak to like try and speak to the river directly, but to go through like an emissary or something, like someone who is a little less frustrated at the moment, and
Yeah.
things like that. Like try and find a connection with. So I think what species is it that you connect with? What species is emissary to the river?
It'd be a kingfisher bird for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So kingfisher, right? Like,
Yeah.
from a Western perspective, we would say the like platonic ideal of kingfishers, right? Like all kingfishers appear, right, as one.
Mm.
Kingfisher appears. I think lands on the bloody on like one of the bloody arms of the cypress, and kind of like cocks his head, and is just kind of like looking at the bottle. Lace, you just like from like Lace's perspective is absolutely just a bird, right?
Yeah. I think I'm
Whereas
just like, ooh, pretty.
yeah. Whereas the other two
What
are
are
like,
the odds?
oh fuck, this is like Kingfisher Union single. um, and then yeah, it's kind of giving you that like cockeye of like doing that thing that where it like checks with like safety eye, danger eye, that birds do, whether it's trying to work out what you are. I'm presuming one of you like pulls a shot for it.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so maybe one of like the nearby cypress knees has a little divot in it, and we just pour some of it in there.
Yep. So yeah, it like flaps and hops down and like drinks some of your moonshine. And seems to deem it like um like acceptable. Are y'all in the boat currently, or are you in the water?
I think we're all standing in the water. Yeah.
Yeah, just checking. I just needed to
Hmm.
check. So, yeah, you definitely, because I wanted to understand where that stress was coming from, and I think like that makes sense if you're in the water and you're like dealing with the cold and the energies of the place. That makes sense. Um, but yeah, the kingfisher um thinks that this is like acceptable and that you should pour the rest into the river. Um,
Uh,
and that we can that it's curious now. It wants to know why you're here.
Um, so as I'm pouring it out, I'm gonna look at it and say, we are here to seek aid in our endeavor. Um,
It laughs. It does like does a kingfisher like
mhm,
trill laugh of like it's clear that it thinks that whatever that like human endeavors are dumb and small.
Hmm.
mhm. We can't fix all of the damage that was done by my people and all of the people who have settled here and disrespected nature and all of the spirits, but we are attempting to bring to justice some of the worst offenders. And uh, our next target is the governor of this place,
It has
who
no idea what
has.
that word means.
Our next target is one who has killed at least 1,000 people and destroyed a huge area of land and turned it into stone buildings and destroyed fields and spirits and people and continues to crush them under his feet.
So
We are small, but we will not relent.
you're asking for help with
Mhm.
your task. What action do you think you're rolling?
This feels like a sway, probably.
hmm At the moment, it doesn't. So at the
Mm.
moment, this seems like you're gonna get a limited effect.
Mhm.
Um, it doesn't seem like the kind of reverence you're showing, like, or the way that you're approaching it doesn't seem to be getting across to Kingfisher.
Mhm.
Um, like he's um, yeah, he's not quite getting it. But you could get there with like you could get limited, which would like kind of put you into a more advantageous position. Um, but yeah, he like um, when you're talking about like they've built stone buildings and things, he's like, I don't care, right?
Mhm.
And you get the and when they killed a bunch of people, okay, sure. Um, and the like disrespect to the spirits, he's like, is that happening? Right? He like the things that you're talking about don't seem to be you it's almost like talking to children about stock markets,
Mhm.
Hmm.
right? It's a thing that they could understand and affect them. It's like saying you to like a child like you can't have lollies because there's not enough money in the bank, and the child's like, I guess
Yeah,
so,
there's
right?
there's several things in between that need
Mm.
explanation for that to
You're
be
really
understood.
you're really struggling with that sort of
Yeah.
language barrier here, and
Yeah.
so
I I
currently you're at currently what you've described you're at a limited, but we can
Yeah.
continue to play out the scene if you want to move that.
yeah, I think Cole wants to kind of try to connect those pieces a bit. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
this man is suffocating the natural order. He's trying to wipe out the people who were here, the people who have paid them the respect and reverence they deserve. And once he's done with the people, he will try to conquer the land itself. He will look to erase any evidence that Kingfisher, the river, that any of you were here. It will just be a land quiet and empty.
Kingfisher asks you about Toad. Have you seen Toad? He hasn't seen Toad in a long time.
Is Toad?
You can roll here if you want to. If you want to like, flashback to like knowing about this, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
if we want to do a quick gather information roll, like.
Yeah, I would love to do that, particularly because one of the things I thought about at the end of last session was trying to go and speak to the what are they, the Lake Elders? Is that what
Yep,
the
exactly.
group?
That's what
Yeah,
I'm assuming. Yeah.
yeah.
Is that this is based on
Because
that
as
sort
we
of
were,
thing.
yeah, kind of heading in that direction, I just needed confirmation that even if they don't agree with the method, that the outcomes were good.
So yeah, roll whichever you think you need for a controlled standard to know about Toad.
I really think it would be study, even though survey is the one I'm best at.
Sure. I think that makes sense. Like, go to see consort, right? Like, because you're talking to people.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that. That splits the difference. That makes me feel a bit better. Controlled standard. Bonus dice 0. That's a 6/6 critical.
The area that is dominated by the agricultural union was the breeding grounds for spotted toads. They are fucking extinct. They are gone. They do not exist anymore.
And the people who've done it don't care.
Like,
Don't
at all. No.
barely even acknowledge that it's a thing.
Yeah, and like a lot of that area that is now sugarcane is just like that's the bit that has been the most fucked up, right? Is the area that has been turned into farmland. Like the island, the island wasn't really a big ecological center. It wasn't as important. So like which is where like the main city is.
Yeah.
The area where Fraser Gardens was, there is more of it, but the area that was most lush and most green and most like fertile,
The area that mattered to the spotted toad.
exactly,
You know?
and a bunch of other species, but like they're struggling now.
Yeah.
But was specifically breeding ground to that is now monoculture farm sugarcane.
That's the vision that this guy has. That's
So you show Kingfisher. Toad is gone. Toad, not really dead, because that would imply that Toad can come back, right? If he were just dead.
Yeah.
Toad is gone, and it is
he seeks to unmake us, each and every one of us.
There will be more. Yeah.
All right. That gets us up to at least a standard, if not a great. Like, you got a critical there. That we can have a great. You show him the horror of you show Kingfisher the horror of Toad's annihilation. So I think if we're trying a sway now, whoever's doing it can be at risky great.
I mean, Dakota, it makes sense to me, like narratively, if that's where you take over in the conversation, because like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're of the people that we're trying to help, and I'm, a random lady who's stepping in a place where she kind of doesn't belong and like means well, but I feel like the better connection is definitely with you.
Yeah, you've got good intentions, but it isn't your like it is a second language for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
lend aid if you want. Like I'll burn a stress and help you out.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right.
Yeah, because
You said.
it's so interesting because Cole has this connection to has been able to talk to the elders of his people and these sorts of things, but doesn't have a lot of the knowledge of how to it wouldn't have occurred
Hmm.
to Cole to use moonshine, right? Because that knowledge has been so recently like um the people who knew that are dead, right? Yeah.
All right. Risky great. You're gonna assist. I'm gonna bonus
Yes.
dice push myself to try. Sway is not my forte. Um,
Mine either.
What am I at? 5, 6.
all right.
Do you want another assist? Or you already got an
You
assist?
got an
That
assist,
would.
yeah.
You got an assist.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, like we're definitely all here, but it still feels like it's less a group action and more like this thing
All
is
you.
resting. Oh,
Lace
resting
is just
on
in the back
shoulders.
in on shock and fear, kind of. Like she has
They're
no idea what's
talking
going on.
to this bird.
I'm gonna
Well,
click the button.
yeah, press the button. The thing for Lace is that the bird's not opening its mouth and talking.
Yeah.
She's
I
just
mean,
suddenly understanding what it means.
oh, I
When
can.
yeah,
Lace can.
all
Okay.
three of you, when
Hmm.
it's speaking to you, and so you're like it's not words coming to you. It's
Yeah.
raw meaning, and you're like, oh, I understand what its intention is. I understand what it wants. I understand. Yeah, it's a very very affronting thing for Lace.
Yeah. I think she's like, are you all hearing this? you know?
Cole, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Sway, not my strong suit,
Hmm.
unfortunately.
That's a 2 and a 2 for the people at home.
Yeah,
It's not
Okay.
ideal.
Oof.
and that's for two bonus dice. It's only two
Yeah.
dice rolled.
Wow.
Ah,
Yeah, you're a you're a member of people who have done this, right? People
Mhm.
have done this, and you're people.
Right.
You've basically gone up. So the Kingfisher interprets this as, look, we've already killed Toad, and if you don't fucking get on board with our stupid people bullshit for that you don't care about, we will do more, right? Pray I do not alter the deal. It
hmm.
interprets it as a threat. Um, and I think I yeah Kingfisher just up and leaves.
Wow.
It's like you're gonna fucking you don't threaten the swamp. You're gonna fucking regret this and fucks off.
I think Lace kind of freaks out. Like,
Yeah,
what happened? What did he say?
Remember that you
What
can
did he do?
resist
What do we do? What did
consequences.
you do?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have to resist that. Yeah. There's no. Uh. Oh, okay. What kind of resist would you suggest?
Probably roll,
Insight?
right?
Resist
I was about to
consequences
say,
from deception or understanding?
it seems like it would
That's
be
right.
insight
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Because it's not
because
like
this
you're
is all a misunderstanding.
um, because it's not mental strain or willpower. So
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's insight.
Um,
What do you what how do you how do you grasp at the edges of control here to get the
um,
situation back into
well, for Kingfisher to understand, or for anyone to understand, they have to know me. They have to know Cole. Um, and so I think what I'm gonna do is put the cut hand against the tree and let my blood
mm,
flow into it so that it
mm.
understands. And I mean that might be a risk also, but like that's a necessary risk. Like
Yeah.
if this is the kind of final contribution that Cole makes, it's in service to that ideal.
I think that this is not going to that this is going to like I think Kingfisher's still going to fuck off, but I think it's going to
Yeah.
keep open the conversation with anyone else who's around. So I think that's a good idea. So let's roll a resist. See how much stress it costs you to keep the conversation, to keep people looking at you.
Whoa.
Oh, nicely done. No stress.
Ooh, you clear
wait,
stress.
you clear a stress.
Wow.
Hell yeah, 2
If-
sixes.
If I didn't roll at least 1 6, I was gone.
Yep. All right.
Six,
Yeah,
three,
you
six,
put
four.
your hand on the tree. And and the fact that the tree is, you now understand that the fact that the tree is bleeding means that there is a war happening.
Mm.
The tree wouldn't be bleeding if there wasn't a war. Your people probably knew this, but no one remembers it at the moment.
Yeah.
And the tree is also it's like, yo, that happens, right? Wars happen. And like, yeah. So I think the clearing of the stress is the fact that, that like, yeah, the part of the point of this tree is that wars are not necessarily always bad. They're part of the natural cycle.
Mm.
So that's the clearing of the stress. I think two spirits are like kind of poke their heads up from under the water where they were listening. One is Lost Words. It looks kind of like bubbling algae. That occasionally, sometimes the bubbles are eyes, and sometimes the bubbles are mouths. It's important that it's important to note that the bubbles are never ears. Because that's not what Lost Words is about. Lost Words isn't about listening. And I think a dead person. I think someone you don't recognize, but like, yeah, I think like a murky brown red puddle, like mark in the water, kind of resolves itself into more of a person shape. A young woman who's like just got like a massive like open saber wound, right? Just straight down her face, like someone's cleaved her fucking face open. It seems like Lost Words is almost protective of her, and is kind of like, yeah, almost like when, not a guard dog, but like when a dog puts itself between you and a person, right? To be like, what's going on here? But they're both curious about like, because I think, like it's obvious that they heard what Cole was saying. But we're going to come back in a minute because we're going to take our first break. And we can come back to that conversation. All right, back in shortly, chat.